Sure. Well, it depends. So we'll do top-down and bottom-up here. So obviously if it's an industry like agriculture, it's going to be more focused on the top-down approach because those companies are very much affected by what's going on with that particular sector. Other cases we'll look at individual companies where it's more up to the individual company. They're a very unique product. There's not really an industry. They're on an island by themselves in terms of what they do. So in that case, it'll be much more company specific and bottoms up. Now in terms of doing any type of investment analysis, picking a stock for example, even when we do a top-down approach, there'll still be a matter of bottom-up because a particular company could have balance sheet issues, for example, which obviously relate to the macro picture and that the company's fortunes will ride the macro view, but there could be particular issues with a company that has nothing to do with any other company in the sector, as a balance sheet management issues, for example. So it's a combination of top-down and bottom-up, unless it's a particular company situation where there's really not anything beyond general economic forces, driving that company. It could be something very specific. We've looked at some of the what are called social media names like a LinkedIn or Zillow. We've looked at those companies, and it comes back to something I said before that I think there's misperceptions out there sometimes about companies. Everyone thinks Zillow and LinkedIn are social media companies, when in fact that's not their business model at all. And we're very focused here on business model. And that's why I said I'd come back to my background, having some principal investment experience in the middle, bookended by equity research, was the fact that you have to understand a company's business model. That's really step one in our process here. So if we sit down and look at a company, if you brought an idea to me and said, company XYZ looks like a good investment, the first thing we would do, certainly if we're not familiar with the company, is learn about that company, understand their business model, and really answer a very fundamental question: how does this company make money? And sometimes you think you know the answer to that question, and you really don't until you learn about the company. And sometimes I've been surprised. I walked into situations where I thought I knew a company, and I was a little bit surprised about what ultimately is driving that company in terms of driving revenue for them. It could be particular geographic areas that are important to them, particular product lines, who their target market is. Sometimes you really don't know until you get under the covers with the company and understand their business model. So that's how we kickstart our process, if you ask me about an individual name, is understand what drives that company. Because even in our top-down approach, when we're talking about agriculture, certain companies are affected by different products. So one company could be more leveraged towards nitrogen-based fertilizers. One could be more phosphate or potash-oriented in terms of their product offering. So you have to understand what impacts that company, because you need to know what to cherry pick from your analysis that's going to be most related to that company's particular fortunes.